Good afternoon. I'm headed up towards Tank Rock in the Mazatzel Mountains, but those clouds over there building in the west have got me a little nervous. There's some weather coming. So I'm going to stop here a while and think about that. While I'm stopped, I'll talk some anime.
Ghost in the Shell standalone complex. Ghost in the Shell standalone complex is a futuristic cyberpunk anime TV series from 2002. In the future, new technologies allow humans to have their bodies augmented with cybernetic prosthetics. Almost everyone has had at least their brains wired into the global communications network. All this has given rise to a new breed of cybercrime. To deal with those special crimes, Japan has established a small elite unit, Section 9, answerable only to the Prime Minister. It's armed with advanced cybernetics, computers, and weapons to deal with anything from bot hacking in cyberspace to tactical combat operations. That team's field leader is Major Motoko Kusanagi, who wears a complete cybernetic replacement body. Her partners include Bato, a strong ex-military man who's mostly been cyborged, and the newest recruit, Detective Togusa, whose only artificial part is his cyberbrain linked to the network. Section 9 is managed by the very clever public servant Aramaki, who's adept at navigating political waters. This is all based on Masamune Shiro's Ghost in the Shell manga, which had already been adapted into a major theatrical movie 7 years earlier. Rather than try to create a sequel or prequel to that movie, the standalone complex TV series takes the same characters and setting and gives us some new stories to deal with in an alternate continuity. So, the puppet master plot from the movie and manga hasn't happened. The TV series fudges the manga's timeline a bit too. Shiro's original manga is now 20 years old, and what was once his speculative, near-future history has been overtaken by reality. On the other hand, the TV series restores some material from the manga that was omitted from the movie, such as the artificially intelligent mini-tanks called Tachikomas. The TV series had 2 seasons, a little over a year apart. I'm only going to look at the first gig of those 26-episode series today. It had quite a variety of stories going on within it. There are plenty of individual episodes, some simple standalone side stories. The first 3 episodes really just introduce Section 9, its members, their mission, and their capabilities through some short action stories. They offer a smooth blend of action and detective work to set up the rest of the series. A few episodes spotlight individual characters. The Major, Bato, Togusa, and Chief Aramaki each get at least 1 episode to explore a bit of their unique talents and a bit of their background and private life. There are 2 independent story arcs running through the entire series that join in the climax to be resolved in the same action. The main plot concerns a notorious hacker known as the Laughing Man, who made a lot of news several years ago before Section 9 was created, and he seems to have resurfaced again now. I thought episodes 3 and 4 were an interesting contrast. In 3, female sex androids of a particular model are self-destructing. Section 9 suspects a hack by an owner of one of the models, so they get a list of the owners and visit them all. They kick down doors and strong-arm people who seem to have committed no crime whatsoever. Apparently there are no civil rights anymore. In the very next episode, Togusa ends up investigating a scandal about the police making illegal use of video surveillance devices. Apparently there still are civil rights, only Section 9 gets to abuse them. Episode 4 was also the first story of the Laughing Man story arc. This hacker is so good he can hack security cameras and even people's eyes through their cyberlink in real time. So even when he's standing right in front of you, you can only see his notorious logo superimposed on his face. That logo carries an obscure quote from Catcher in the Rye, Salinger's popular novel of disaffected youth from the 50s. A good read, by the way. The so-called Laughing Man first appeared years ago, but he was never caught back then, and his identity has remained a mystery. Finding him develops a new urgency when he suddenly reappears, or perhaps it's a copycat.
あれはどうなってんだよおい。あなたをこの舞台から消去しなくちゃならない。
Although Ghost in the Shell is primarily an action story with a bit of mystery thrown in, it does like to take long digressions for conversation and exposition. Episode 9 is an unusual way to fill in the background of the original Laughing Man incident. It takes place entirely in a virtual chat room on the network and consists solely of various avatars sitting around talking. Not many shows are confident enough in their material to spend a solid 20 minutes on a rather dry exposition at a business meeting. After episode 9, we won't get back to the Laughing Man story until around episode 20. The second plot running through most of the series concerns the Tachikomas, Section 9's artificially intelligent mini-tanks. Episode 12 initiates that story as one of the Tachikomas decide to leave Section 9 and go explore the city a bit on its own. Curiosity. There are clear parallels between this story and Frankenstein, where the creature goes walkabout and meets a friendly little girl. Like Frankenstein, the Tachikoma doesn't understand the fragility of life, and while searching for the girl's dog, ends up throwing away a stray. At least the Tachikoma doesn't throw away the little girl like Frankenstein did. This parallel with Frankenstein is intentional. Major Kusanagi is concerned that the Tachikomas are developing individual personalities. Despite their cute, childlike artificial voices and apparent desire to help, the Major worries that their independent initiative and curiosity isn't desirable in an automated weapons system.
Well, is this animal your pet? That's not him. Huh. Hey, Tachikoma, that was mean. Mean? I wasn't mean. He was simply unnecessary. If you ever do that again, you'll make me really mad.
That was one of my favorite episodes. Although it's a secondary plot to the Laughing Man storyline, the question of the Tachikoma's sentience is an important return to the themes of Shiro's manga and the original movie. The ending of the series has some surprises. It really concludes what you'd think would be the main story without a lot of action. That's more a crime investigation story, and it moves well beyond the original Laughing Man incident into a world of scandal and cover-up by powerful corporations and the government. Probably because that investigation is rather dry and awfully complicated, there's some high-stakes action near the finale. I thought much of that was simply a detour just to provide a big action finish and create a more dramatic denouement rather than following reason. It does, however, let the Laughing Man and Tachikoma plotlines converge. The series was directed by Kenshi Kamiyama, who also headed the staff of half a dozen script writers, creating new stories for the TV series in consultation with Shiro. The animation is extremely well done for a TV show. Production IG also produced that Ghost in the Shell movie a few years before. Unlike the movie, the TV series was able to take advantage of new computer technology, and it provides some very fluid motion in the action scenes, as well as some dynamic camera motion. The revised character designs are crisp and clean and make the characters appear just a little younger than in the movie, but still not so cartoonish as in the manga. That suits as the TV characters' behavior lacks some of the juvenile antics that are present in the manga. The opening sequence is animated as pure CGI, with the Major and the Tachikomas in action. It's visually different than the actual series animation, but similar in composition and motion. The music is provided by Yoko Kanno, and it's excellent. Most of it has a hard-edged techno beat to it. Kanno's versatility in so many musical styles is amazing. Overall, I like the series a lot, and I give it 4.5 stars. The 26 episodes allow the series to explore all 4 of its primary characters a bit, and unlike so much anime, these are adult characters, even if they are still action hero archetypes. The series also weaves an intricate overall plot together with several engaging side stories that all mesh together pretty well. I thought the English dub of this series was excellent too. All the major characters have credible voices and give good performances. The voices are different from the original movie's theatrical dub and much better. It also had a sequel about a year later called Second Gig, and I will get to that another time. After the second standalone complex TV series, The Second Gig, this first series, The First Gig, was re-edited into a 2.5-hour compilation movie titled The Laughing Man. This stripped the introduction and character spotlight stories from the TV series and concentrated mainly on the series' primary plot by reusing animation from the series. That plot involved 11 episodes, and about 2/3 of that made it into the movie. Some scenes were rearranged or intercut, and some Japanese dialogue was redubbed to provide exposition for redacted scenes. The secondary Tachikoma line, on the other hand, couldn't be completely excised since it reached a climax in the same scene with the main story, but it was radically truncated. Since we get no time to get to know the Tachikoma AIs before they're sent to the lab, the resolution in the movie falls completely flat. This Laughing Man movie isn't bad. The condensed story makes it easier to follow the main plot if interleaving it with other stories was making it confusing for you. I suppose it's also a boon to anyone who's too busy to watch the whole 26-episode TV series or unable to rent or buy the DVD series. But Standalone Complex didn't really have any filler or wasted episodes, so I think the TV series is still the superior entertainment. I'm not opposed to compilation movies in general. For example, Gynex's Nadia was vastly improved by stripping out all the silly junk that had padded it out. But unless you're pressed for time, I suggest the original Standalone Complex TV series. There's nothing new to the movie version, and the TV version offered better background, character development, and some interesting side stories.
Well, those clouds don't look too scary. I think I'll press on for a little bit longer anyway. Thanks for listening.